Beautiful surroundings for senior night in Happy Valley. This evening, the Rutgers University Scarlet Knights march into Panzer Stadium with a score to settle against the Nittany Lions of Penn State, who wish to end up regular season champs with Lacrosse on Big Ten Network. It is so great to see you again. Alongside Mark Dixon, I'm Joe Beninati. In the blink of an eye, it seems, we've landed in the last weekend of Big Ten regular season play. Mark, what's at stake for these two schools?
Well, time flies when you're having fun, Joe, and it's been a fun lacrosse season thus far. Tonight it's all about seeding opportunities. For Penn State, they have the opportunity to put themselves in position to grab the number one seed and a bye in the quarterfinal round of the Big Ten tournament. Meanwhile, Rutgers, the best they can finish is a 4 seed, but if they hit that mark, they get a home game, so a win tonight is essential.
Both of these squads are more than capable of having a big offensive night. When Rutgers has the ball, Ross Scott is the man most likely to succeed.
Scott is the director of this Rutgers offense. He is so quick, so agile, great stick work. He is a Nittany Lion killer. Last year, 5 goals against Penn State, including the game-tying and game-winning goals in overtime. He's been a little off-kilter in 2023 as he draws more attention from defenses, but number 5 is going to have to be big tonight.
Last week when Penn State needed a hero, Jack Traynor came to the rescue 6 times over.
A nice half a dozen for Jack Traynor, who has just gotten better and better as the season has moved on for this Nittany Lion team. With TJ Malone and Kevin Winkoff, this offense has reemerged under offensive coordinator John Haas.
It is time for us to meet the netminders. Rutgers has received a solid season from Kyle Mullen, setting the pace and goals against average in the Big Ten mark. He has hopes to be the answer man tonight.
Big body, 6'4", fills up the cage nicely. I like his athleticism and how he's able to get low.
Penn State rolls with Jack Frasian, and Frasian's reflexes and instincts have led him to leading the conference in saves per game.
He has provided stability to the Nittany Lion cage when it was up and down in 2022. Number 50 in the white and blue has been a linchpin.
Chase Mullins expecting to meet John Duhenio at the face-off dot. The officials for this game tonight, Brian Abbott, Jason Parks, and Tim Czechia. As we have a top 12 battle, it's Rutgers in black, Penn State here at home on senior night. In the white jerseys, 9 seniors honored with their families prior to the game here at Panzer. Right off the jump, it's Rutgers with a first possession. Ryan Decker, a short stick defensive midfielder, one of 5 that you'll see Brian Brecht employ throughout the night.
Yeah, a little surprised at how Duhenio won that face-off so easily. Mullins has been playing some good lacrosse. That is a huge shot in the arm if Rutgers can do some of that at the face-off dot tonight.
Off and running here from the sharp angle. That one rattles around the frame. The big rebound there. It's going to be awarded to Penn State. Long stick, close defender Parnham with a clearing effort. His pass is behind Sickler. An immediate turnover for Penn State. And it was Jeff Tambroni who was saying to us all week, we have to get out of the gates better. We need better starts.
Well, and we saw Rutgers bit by a poor start last weekend at home in front of a record crowd. They fell behind to Maryland 5-0. That first shot hit the pipe, but I like the execution that Rutgers employed on that initial touch.
Sprock on the invert, working in against Grant Hawes. Sprock rolling back. No shooting room there. The second minute of the opening quarter in State College, PA. Knobloch's pass is low, taken up off of the turf, but lost there in one fell swoop by Justin Kim. Back come the Nittany Lions.
One area that is much improved for this Penn State team. It's an all-around revamp of this ball club, but the defense, led by Jack Posey and Sam Sweeney with the long pole, and then Mark Sickler, one of the most dynamic short stick D middies in the conference.
Bottom of the screen, you're seeing the tail end of Jeff Tambroni's starters tonight. As we near the 2-minute mark of a 0-0 game, Penn State gets its first offensive touch. Their top point producer is this man, TJ Malone. Going to the goal, great pass inside. Winkoff scores.
Kevin Winkoff, the transfer from Binghamton. His confidence is sky high after drilling the game winner a couple weeks ago right here against Johns Hopkins. And this is too easy, and this is how Maryland carved up Rutgers a week ago. Look at that 2 black jerseys go to number 7, and no one takes hold of number 48, Winkoff. Malone finds Winkoff wide open. That is too easy off ball.
Mark mentions the confidence is growing. That's goals in 5 straight for Winkoff, now 16 on the season. Duhenio lost his lid on the draw. The possession is going to be awarded here to Penn State. Kyle Aldridge is one of Jeff Tambroni's short stick defensive midfielders. He serves it to Ethan Long. Long had 2 goals and 2 assists last week against Michigan. Penn State staked to the lead on the tally by Kevin Winkoff, who has 5 multi-goal games this season. Jack Traynor getting to the heart of the Rutgers defense off the roll dodge against Remington Reynolds.
Traynor, the hero, a week ago with 6 goals. An 8-4 comeback victory on the road in Ann Arbor. Not an easy task, but they turn it over on that possession.
Scarlet Knights defense swarmed beautifully there to force the turnover, and now it's Apgar, who was 3 times a Division III All-American at Salisbury before relocating to Piscataway, New Jersey. This pass is on the money for Machika, 23 in the black. Rutgers comes to town with a mark of 8-4, ranked 11th in the land. Penn State at 8-3 and 5th ranked.
Yeah, Rutgers needs this win, not only to be in a position to grab the 4 seed in a home game in the quarterfinals, but they need a quality RPI victory. Penn State would be a top 10 RPI win. Right now, Rutgers only has 2 top 20 in Princeton and Michigan.
Scarlet Knights will swing it for Ringer up top. Then on around she comes. Savetti. And back behind the cage, this is Knobloch, who's playing attack. No Brian Cameron expected to be available. He's been dealing with injuries for the last month or so.
Yeah, saw him leave the game early against Maryland. He missed the Johns Hopkins game, missed the Ohio State game. Knobloch bumps down to attack. Brian Breck telling us he just needs his best offensive players on the field for 60 minutes.
This is Logan Peters working into the alley, draws a double team, kicks it back behind for Ross Scott, the igniter, behind the back, just sent wide by Ringer, chased down and kept alive there at the tail end of the shot clock. It's a violation back to Penn State.
Rutgers not getting great looks. It's Knobloch and Scott. Those guys need to be the party starters. They need to get this Penn State defense rotating. Really, when you look at this Rutgers offense, minus Brian Cameron, the only 2 guys that really scare you are number 5 Scott, number 27 Knobloch. They have got to get their hands free and win their matchups.
Jake Morin with the ball for Penn State lost his balance. We had some rain showers about a half hour before the 6 p.m. Eastern time start, so the field could be slick.
Yeah, without question, and watch the sticks as well. The team's got to warm up in it.
Malone fires. That rattles off the shoulder of Mullen and off the post. They dig for the ground ball. Ethan Rawls scooped it there, the incredible long stick midfielder for the Scarlet Knights, and it is Rutgers that regains possession.
Great ground ball by Noah Daniels.
He fires, Frassian eats it up. Frassian looking for the quick clear. Starts the break back for Kevin Winkoff. No numbers advantage. The pass nicely caught there. Malone fires, and it is Mullen knocking it aside.
Mullen read that one nicely. Got a chance to set his feet because the pass was a little too high. So Malone had to go airborne for it, set his feet. That allowed Mullen to get a beat on it and just fought it off.
Jake Morin working in against Apgar. He'll exchange with Matt Costin, who's inverted, the midfielder below the goal line. Costin fires, he scores! Matt Costin.
Costin, a senior who has been incredibly productive thus far. As Brian Breck looks on, this is just a one-on-one behind the cage, and no slide came because I don't think the Rutgers defense expected Costin to shake and bake and get this free that quickly. Just drifts up, and you can tell right here, Costin recognizes no slide, glides up about 3 yards to create angle, and tattoos the far post.
Made some separation between himself and Noah Daniels and converted. This is a scramble off the ensuing face-off. Duhenio and Mullins expected to get the Lions' share of the draws tonight. Joe Newman is the understudy for Duhenio. Hudson Bond and Richie Houston perhaps throughout the night for the Nittany Lions. As Rutgers has control, bringing it along, it's LeJon Jones Jr., who is a transfer to Rutgers after 3 seasons at Bryant. Scarlet Knights in the dark jerseys, looking for their first tally now as we near and hit the 6-minute mark of the opening quarter.
I've become a big LeJon Jones fan. I think he could be a difference maker in the middle of the field. That allows Ethan Rawl to play down low, play in the middle, really just roam and be incorporated any way possible by the Rutgers defense.
Head coach Breck calls Rawl a savage, and he means that in the best possible way.
He is a beast. His game has evolved nicely over his time at Piscataway.
Amon on the outside, the 4th leading goal scorer for the Scarlet Knights, 33 in the black. Knobloch shifting gears. He leads the team in assists. Bounce shot here to the cage. Rattles around, no go. And coming up with a scoop, it's Posey. Jack Posey expected to draw Ross Scott in an all Big Ten type matchup, mano a mano tonight.
Posey not only a first-team conference selection.
Rip and score! Sickler with a bomb from the outside.
I mentioned the development of Mark Sickler and what he means to this team. This is a converted offensive midfielder. Rutgers can get nothing going after that first shot that rang off of the iron. This is David Sprock. Not a bad angle, and I think that was going to the far post. And guess who knocks it down? The thigh of number 32, Mark Sickler. And then the trail. Good communication by Sickler. Here's your help, here's your help. The drop off, and look at the confidence of Sickler to whistle that one by Mullins from about 16 yards.
Sickler playing a defensive midfield role this season. A year ago, he had 15 tallies, a hat trick against Penn, a couple of goals against Johns Hopkins in Big Ten play. Gets himself on the board. It's 3 unanswered for Penn State. Winkoff, Costin, and Sickler back to back to back.
Yeah, if you're Rutgers, you need to stop, you need to save, you need a turnover, you need anything right now before Penn State gets downhill on you again. This is a Rutgers offense that is minus Brian Cameron tonight.
Jack Trainer on the move. He has goals in all 11 games this season. Swinging on around to Luke Mercer. Mercer off the split dodge. The bouncer goes wide of Mullen. Closest to the ball on a shot when it leaves the field. Where and when gets possession. This will stay with Penn State.
It's amazing, Joe. The Big Ten this year, when you looked at the preseason standings, Johns Hopkins, Penn State, ranked anywhere from between 4 and 6 by the pundits. And these are two teams that...
Jack Trainer fires and scores.
Rutgers is on its heels. This is too easy if you're Penn State. Jack Trainer showing range. I mean, this is early offense and in possession. This is off of a dead ball. Trainer just gets time and space, and you have to wonder what Rutgers is doing defensively. Just the motion off of a restart and just a give back. And there's 2 black jerseys flowing to the ball and no one flowing to the cutoff man. Trainer plants it, and the Nittany Lions are rolling.
Farm is there, and Mark, when we look at the goal-scoring leaders in the Big Ten, a lot of them are on the field with us tonight.
2 really good offenses, and Rutgers, unfortunately, their offense has kind of gone in hibernation thus far tonight. But when you talk about Jack Trainer and Matt Trainer and TJ Malone, Jack Trainer and TJ Malone have missed significant time throughout their careers in the injuries. And as we watch these seniors tonight, Joe, to the 9 of them from Penn State, they've seen the best. They were members of that 2019 national championship, national semifinalist team led by Mac O'Keefe and Grant Ament, and they've seen the worst. 2 sub-500 seasons and no advancement to the postseason.
This has to be a very bad case of deja vu for head coach Brian Breck. Similar to the way Rutgers started last weekend against Maryland, falling behind by 5. Right out of the chute tonight, trailing by 4. Knobloch hoping to carve into Penn State's lead on this trip. 6-on-6 at this end of the field. It's Sprock off the split dodge, rolling. Feed it inside, kick save. Frassian with a beauty on Ross Scott.
That's the look. That was a great play Great look. Your alpha on offense, staring down the goaltender from 5 yards, and Frassian does Splitsville to make the save.
Jeff Tambroni says of Frassian, he's so instinctive. He's almost reading shooters, a little bit like he's baiting them to shoot a certain spot, but he is so knowledgeable of a shooter's tendencies, he's almost leading there before the ball's released.
He's 6'1". He's listed at 175, but I think that's a generous 175. Tall and slender, and he uses that stick-like body size to get his feet out, to get his arms out, up, elbows, you name it. He makes saves with it.
Some people will yell at me and say he's guessing as the Nittany Lions convert again. It's Morin right to the cage.
Maryland picked apart the interior of Rutgers' defense a week ago. Flagged down due to an offsides, and this is just unlucky as Knobloch bumps into his teammate and sends him over the equator. But now Penn State is feasting on the fringes, and they are using the two-man game to confuse the communication of the Rutgers defense, and Jake Morin slips that by Mullen.
5-0, music to the ears for head coach Jeff Tambroni. 5-0 Nittany Lions. Morin's multi-assist game last week was his first of the season. There he calls his own number. It's 5 different goal scorers for Penn State and possession of the ball as we near the 10-minute mark of the opening quarter with Lacrosse on Big Ten Network. Joe Beninati, Mark Dixon, so glad you've kick-started the weekend with us from Happy Valley.
A big weekend of lacrosse here on Big Ten Network. After us, Ohio State, Michigan will tangle, and then tomorrow night, the rivalry in college lacrosse. Maryland, Johns Hopkins from College Park.
Mercer lost his footing. Switch it back up for Malone, attacking from the flank. Front swing, bouncer that goes wide. It was Ethan Long getting topside there. Long who gets repositioned into the offensive flow, 6-on-6. These are the two higher scoring teams in the Big Ten. Malone going to the goal in terms of goals per game. Crafty Nittany Lions getting Mac Hobbs into the lineup. Jeff Tambroni said to keep an eye out for 37 in the white. Malone drawing the early double. Hitches, fires, and rings the post. He had Mullen beaten, he hit the iron.
Malone got matched up on a shorty right there. That's a nightmare for Rutgers. Saved by the 6x6.
5 of the first 7 shots for Penn State have hit pay dirt. Apgar brings it along. Scott slowing the tempo, but not for long. Elite level quickness for 5 in the black, picked up by Posey, who has a way of taking the enemy's top threat out of a game.
He has established himself not only as a first-team all-conference defender, he is a candidate for first-team All-American honors. Jack Posey, number 43 in the white.
Justin Kim getting into the alley. Kim, a big body at 6'4", working downhill against McVicker, the short stick defensive midfielder. Knobloch bringing on around to Amon. Amon flashing towards the cage. No shooting angle there. Sprock on the throwback. Amon is next. A couple of Nittany Lions there to defend. Shot clock's at 24. Isolating up top, the bouncer fought off by Frassian. The rebound's loose. Frassian this season averages about 13.5 saves per game. Ground ball to Alex Ross, and possession again for Penn State.
Yeah, Frassian seeing it tonight. That was another nice save. Good shot by Rutgers. That's been the bugaboo of the Scarlet Knights this season. Part of their anemia on offense is poor shot selection. We saw it against Ohio State. Last week against Maryland, I didn't think it was that bad. They just didn't have the ball, particularly in the second half that much. And then when they did have it in the first half, they threw it away. So this is a Rutgers team that's really going to have to make quality shots tonight to beat Frassian.
Rutgers averages only 12 turnovers per game. That's number 1 in the nation. Fewest miscues per game. Neatly weaving out of his own zone, it's Stehanczyk. Rutgers a successful clear. Getting the ball to John Miller, 6 in the black, back from injury. Knobloch keeps it back behind the goal for Ross Scott. Trying to finalize on Posey.
Yeah, mere mortals buckle at that change of direction, that ankle breaker behind the goal for Ross Scott. But he's been marked up by Posey today, Bobby Van Buren of Ohio State, Ajax Apatello of Maryland. He's getting the who's who.
Hamon sent that one wide, taken off the turf neatly by Alex Ross, who leads the Penn State Nittany Lions in caused turnovers this season. Clearing efforts for the Nittany Lions with 1:40 to go in the opening quarter. It's treated Penn State very well if you're just tuning in. 5-0 for the guys in the white jerseys on senior night.
Yeah, for Rutgers, it's just about buckling down, trying to stay the course. I mean, they played Maryland even after that disastrous first quarter, but this is developing into a trend for the Scarlet Knights. And if you're Penn State, you got to keep your foot on the gas.
Brian Breck said we need to be a little sharper, a little bit smarter. They don't have to work any harder. Jack Traynor on the go, feed it inside. Sandwich there defensively was Morin. Scarlet Knights come away with the ball in the final minute. Gliding ahead, Remy Reynolds for Knobloch. And then back behind the cage to the quarterback. Ross Scott will spin it. Under a minute with which to work in the opening quarter. 5 different goal scorers for the Nittany Lions. Will Rutgers break the ice here? Scott playing a 2-man game. Sneaks one inside. Snapshot, score! A buzz bomb from Savetti.
You want to talk about quality shots? This is a perfectly placed effort from Savetti. Scott sets this up because he's been trying to beat Posey with the dodge and watch the defense get a little crossed up in the 2-man game. I like how these guys kept their space, didn't allow Sickler or Posey to get a stick in the gloves, and when he does that, he finds Savetti, who tattoos the upper 90.
Savetti with goals in 4 of his last 7. He's been playing some midfield. He's been playing some attack. He picks up goal number 10 on the season. There's movement on the ensuing faceoff. Last-ditch effort now for the Scarlet Knights in the final 24 ticks of the opening quarter.
Boy, if they could get one here. Huge shot in the arm for Rutgers.
They'd feel a whole lot better, wouldn't they? Ross Scott getting topside rolls. Over the head checks, perfectly timed by Posey. It's a takeaway, ball down. They still scramble for it. And the possession will be awarded to Penn State. Final 5 seconds of the period. Clearing effort. Malone zips it cross field behind the back to the interior. That will do it for 15 minutes at Panzer Stadium.
Frenetic pace, good defense. If I'm Rutgers, I can't let Ross Scott try to beat Jack Posey, who steals his lunch money on the way down to the turf. It can't be Ross Scott dodging and 5 Rutgers Scarlet Knights watching.
Jeff Tambroni's team off to a hot start. Back with quarter 2 in a moment on Big Ten Network. For all time as we go around the conference.
Well, this is rivalry weekend. Ohio State, Michigan. The big 3 for the Wolverines. Mikey Boehm, Josh Zawada, Ryan Cohen, each with 40-plus points on the season. Ohio State will try to dust itself off of after getting throttled by Johns Hopkins a week ago. Jack Myers and Skylar Walland on the offense and defense. And then Hopkins, Maryland for the 125th time. Had a chance to catch up with head coach Peter Milliman of Johns Hopkins on the D-Fly Dixie podcast this week, and he said, oh yeah, our guys remember last year losing 22-7 at home in front of a homecoming crowd. He said it's more about an opportunity and not so much about revenge. Maryland, meanwhile, that second midfield has been sizzling for John Tillman and Braden Erksa. Is he the next big thing in College Park?
Those two, Johns Hopkins and Maryland, they play for the rivalry trophy. Rutgers and Penn State battle for the Friendship Cup tonight. So far, so good for the home team. The Nittany Lions in the white jerseys out in front 5-1. Last man on the board for Rutgers was Eric Savetti to stem the tide.
You ever try to lift that rivalry trophy, Joe, between Hopkins and Maryland?
It's a very large, very heavy crab.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could. We both could try, max out our bench with that thing.
Zavetti back behind the cage. Bring it this way for Knobloch, as Parnham will keep tabs on him. Scarlet Knights in the dark jerseys. Kim streaking into the alley. Fires! Fressian made that save, and he made it look easy.
Yeah, that's Kim's mojo right there. He's not very fast, but he's big and strong. When he gets downhill, he can score. But Fressian read that, soaked it. Clean save. Opportunity now to clear.
Justin Kim, 5 goals in his last 3 games. 3 of those were fashioned against Johns Hopkins. Posey helping out on the clear, but offside against Penn State. Or is it failure to advance?
Wow, that was by a whisker.
Ross Scott gets it right back for the Scarlet Knights.
You remember in lacrosse, when that shot clock hits 60, you have to have it cleared into the offensive end.
Roll dodge coming here. No shooting room. Knobloch will change the field. From the outside, bouncer, score! Back-to-back tallies for the Scarlet Knights. It's Amon.
Let's take a look at that failure to advance call against Penn State, which leads to a Rutgers goal, much to the chagrin of Jeff Tambroni. Yeah, there it is. So it's at 60, and Posey is well behind that line. So good call by the officials. That is made by the single side. And then you're just going to see again, off ball, Knobloch gives it to Amon, and that's just lazy defense by Sweeney, really. I mean, he did not get him in a V. He did not push him out. He didn't get a hand in his gloves. Just gets run by, and Amon makes him pay.
Face-off win there for Joe Newman, the Yale transfer who subs in for John DeHenio. Amon bags his 21st of the campaign. 5 out of the gate for Penn State. The last 2 on the board for Rutgers, and possession. Logan Peters wears 7 in the black, with Knobloch shimmying in against Parnham. On the flank, Peters turns back. Ringer off the hitch, fires, kick save, Fressian, rebound, doorstep, Fressian stuffed him. And there are flags down. Fressian with beautiful combination saves there.
We're going to have a push against Penn State, and this is a bailout for Logan Peters, who had a gift bounce right to him and was unable to finish right on the doorstep. It looked like the ball almost got caught in Peters' stick. Good shot, good save by Fressian, but this is rebounds. And that's actually really good defense by Alex Ross, number 6 in white. Peters got to be a little quicker with that, but Ross, he might have taken a 30-second foul right there, but he saved the goal.
Rutgers extra man 36.7. Eric Saramet is the offensive coordinator for the Scarlet Knights. Chance to trim this to a 2-goal deficit. Ringer works from the top. Scott from the wing walks the dog a little bit there. Good recovery, though, by J.B. Strachan, the man-down defender who comes off of Coach Tambroni's bench.
Yeah, Rutgers is in a 2-4-1 now, 2-4. Now they're in a 2-3-1 with Scott behind the cage.
Extra man ends. Whistler, score! A bullet from Sprock.
This is a great shot by David Sprock. And I'm going to say it, Joe. People could get mad at us together. I think Fressian guessed on that one. I think he thought Sprock was going to take that low. You can watch him drop the head of his stick, and then Sprock whistles it by his ear. And David Sprock, a guy who tore his ACL last year, it takes a while to get back from that injury, and I thought I saw his confidence growing last Sunday night against Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
And there he gets his feet set, picks his spot and delivers a bullet.
He did have a helper last week against the Terrapins in that losing effort. Rutgers seeing its nation-long home field win streak put aside by the Terps. Sprock on the board. He's the 6th leading point producer for Rutgers. The Scarlet Knights have battled back after surrendering the opening 5 goals again to start this game. Penn State in possession. 12 in the white is Will Peden. Not expected to see Chris Jordan in the lineup tonight for the hometown Nittany Lions. Malone has Stehanczyk hung up. Malone, the outstanding feeder, creator, works to the outside, thought about it. Plenty of time in the shot clock for Penn State. Winkoff lurking back behind Ethan Rahl, keeping tabs on him. Winkoff tried to swim past Rahl, the All-American. Here comes the help from Apgar. Excellently timed double team and slide there by the Scarlet Knights defense.
You really have to appreciate how Rutgers has buckled down and they're chipping away at this Penn State lead. That's really, really good defense by the Scarlet Knights. We haven't even really mentioned Jack Trainer just yet. He had 6 goals a week ago against Michigan.
Long clearing effort from Stehanczyk is again, that was another very close to a failure to advance at 20. It bounces out of bounds. It's Penn State ball. At the defensive end, Mark, for Rutgers, their goals against average, 10.25. It's 12th best overall in the nation. They don't give up very much.
No, they don't. But in the Big Ten, it's been their offense that has let them down a little bit. And it was a combination of things last week against Maryland.
Morin with the ball down in midfield. 35 comes up with it. Jake Morin, 21-year-old midfielder in the second troop for Jeff Tambroni.
Well, it's hard enough to get a stop on Penn State, but then if you can't clear it, if you can't get it from defense to offense, that is where your defense can start getting worn down. Penn State doing a nice job on the ride, but if you're Rutgers, you got to be cleaner with those clears.
Malone brings it on around. Malone closing. TJ Malone. Only Jacob Angelis of Johns Hopkins with more assists per game in the Big Ten than 7 in the white. This bounce shot's a beauty. Luke Mercer with high heat.
Rutgers dared Luke Mercer to shoot that shot. This is like the kid in pickup basketball that you think has no range, and you dare them to shoot from downtown. Mercer uses the pick, but it's nothing great. And they're like, okay, you're going to shoot it? Boom. High bouncers will go. Luke Mercer steps in. That is an overhand thing of beauty.
Terrific shot for a guy who hasn't been scoring all that much. Luke Mercer, just 1 goal in his last 5. Dents the twine right there. It's Penn State doubling up on the Scarlet Knights. Back to the face-off dot we go. With the ball down, it comes up for black-jerseyed Rutgers. Shane Knobloch hanging out on the wing.
Noah Daniels with a tough ground ball. That's the second one that he's had tonight. Transfer from Mount St. Mary's. This is a Rutgers team that lost all 4 of their short stick D middies to graduation, and Daniels has been a big boost.
Scott scampers, turns and fires. That one didn't hit pay dirt, and Frasian comes up with the ball for Penn State. Posey, ridden hard there by Ross Scott. McVicker is going to bring it across the midline, getting a jump on Knobloch. Sickler, who tallied in the opening quarter. We've just crossed the 6-minute mark of the second frame. Malone yielding the ball for Matt Trainer, the younger brother of Jack. Matt wears 22, Jack wears 16. Sweeping across, it is Jack Trainer for Malone with a pick set by Morin. Plenty of time in the shot clock for the Nittany Lions. Matt Costin will bring it on back. Jack Trainer gets his hands loose, fires, had it blocked. Ball knocked down there by Stehanczyk. Morin comes up unsettled. Here come the Nittany Lions. Morin ran right into the teeth of the Scarlet Knight defense, and there was a timeout call. Penn State and Rutgers meeting, 72nd all-time. The first came back in 1946. So far, it's the Scarlet Knights trailing by 3.
Wendy's $3 breakfast deal, it's the kind of breakfast that really sticks with you. Tyler at breakfast. Hey, buddy.
Your choice of breakfast croissant plus seasoned potatoes for just $3. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's $3 breakfast deal.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system. At the tone, please record your message.
I'm telling y'all, I'm the strongest Sanders in the family. The whole family.
Nah, this is strong.
How's that for strong? This that auntie strong.
Can y'all do this?
Boy, you want to see strong? That is strong. They'll be here in 5. We ready?
There's a... Oh. We'll just put books here, and that looks fine.
That's bad. There we go.
Ooh, that's no good.
I can just go.
Yeah. Can you do that the whole day?
That works.
Not a big deal.
I can't stop.
I don't have it.
Left. Perfect.
We should have used Bear.
Yeah.
Today, let's paint, spray, and stain with Bear, America's most trusted paint brand.
Was the fridge here before?
Yes.
Bear, exclusively at the Home Depot.
Tomorrow, one of the sport's great rivalries renews. Please do join Mark and me, Johns Hopkins and Maryland, colliding in a top 10 showdown. Big Ten men's lacrosse tomorrow, 6 Eastern only on Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. They battle for that rivalry trophy.
And they're battling also for the potential to be the number 1 seed in the Big Ten tournament, which starts next week. Maryland, their scenario is you win, and they are the number 1 seed. Penn State could be the number 1 seed if they win and Maryland loses. Hopkins becomes the number 1 seed if they win and Penn State loses here tonight. So it's pretty clean this year, Joe. These 3 teams are 3-1 each in the Big Ten. And then you have Rutgers, Ohio State, Michigan 1-3. So it's a battle for the 1 through 3 with those 3 teams, and then the 4, 5, 6 with the Rutgers, Michigan, Ohio State crew.
Top 2 teams get a bye into the Big Ten tournament semifinals, which will be hosted by Johns Hopkins on May 4th. Outside shot, Mullen to his knees, makes the denial there on Matt Traynor. And starts John Miller the other way. Miller breezing into the offensive end with Knobloch. This is Noah Daniels, the short stick defensive midfielder who shoots 50% this season. He's got goals in 5 of 6.
I can see why. He's great off the ground. He's wonderful in transition. He's confident. He's strong. Staying on right now. Maybe for a little do-si-do on the offensive end.
Knobloch looking over the top. Long outside shot from Amon rejected, as Frassian has seen it very well. He's been active and reflexive as usual. This is Sam Sweeney, the long stick midfielder, to bring it along for Penn State. There's a flag down. Kyle Aldridge looking for the trailer. Ethan Long.
Well, 2 things happened on that play. Aldridge collects the rebound and then showed great footwork around the crease, not to step in to get the in and out. And then Shane Knobloch tried to avoid the offsides by jumping out of bounds, but his foot hit inbound. So that's why you see 7 black jerseys right now playing defense.
Soon to be extra man opportunity for Penn State. You hear the communication. There's another flag coming down against Rutgers. Jack Traynor backing out. A bounce pass for Luke Mercer. Mercer fires. That's over top of the cage, and it will be Rutgers shorthanded.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. So the first penalty's offsides. It'll be interesting to see if they call unnecessary roughness for blowing up the pick or interference on Rutgers for not allowing the picker to establish position. So they went the more severe route. Here's the offsides on Knobloch. And wow, you could have gotten a slash as he hit Sweeney right in the back. But then he lands in bounds. And then here's the penalty. You can see the pick being set by Jack Traynor. Yeah, Rutgers player saw it the entire way, just went in. It wasn't egregious, but he definitely went out of his way to make contact, and I'm sure Traynor sold that one a little bit too.
Mark, special teams for Penn State have been terrific this season. Statistically, they are number one, both on extra man and on man-down defense.
This is a slick unit. You got to give a lot of credit to offensive coordinator John Haas, his younger brother Grant, a key short stick D midi for this Nittany Lion team. But the return of Jack Traynor and TJ Malone has made a huge difference as well.
Jack Traynor with Winkoff there. They took apart Michigan last week, went 3 for 5. Winkoff straight away, Malone on the wing. Move it swiftly. Off the bench, Jeb Brenfleck comes in on extra man for Coach Tambroni. Winkoff with a big fake from the top. Move it to Malone. Shorthanded situation expires inside. It's a put away for Ethan Long.
Ethan Long was naked for about 10 seconds during that extra man opportunity.
Don't let him catch cold.
The ball was just on the far side of the field, and Long just steps in once again. And look at Malone, the great vision, the skip pass. We've talked about it all year long, Joe. Skip passes will kill a man-down defense. Ethan Long finally gets seen, takes the feed, dumps it past Mullins. Penn State back up by 4. 7
different goal scorers for the Nittany Lions. Long with tallies in 4 of his last 6. To the draw we go, and it is Mullins who comes up with possession for Penn State.
Well, that's where you got to really appreciate the depth of scoring that the Nittany Lions bring to this 2023 team. Makes them really, really hard to defend. You can't key on one guy.
Moving the ball well here, a bouncer from Jack Traynor that misfires. The diving effort by Mullen in the cage. He gets awarded the ball for Rutgers.
Great hustle by Kyle Mullen, and I'll let you in on a secret. When that ball goes out of bounds, Mullen was back there. But let's say no one makes it past goal line extended, the goalie will get the ball because he's standing on the goal line, which is the closest thing to the end line when it goes out of bounds, if no other player is near the ball when and where it goes out.
Mullen helped to make sure of it, though, right, with the diving effort?
6'4", that'll do it.
All day. 7-3 Penn State on a Friday night at Panzer Stadium. Joe Beninati, Mark Dixon with you. 3 cheers for all the men and women in our technical crew for all their efforts day and night. A busy night of Big Ten lacrosse on the network. Ohio State, Michigan to follow. Scarlet Knights in the black jerseys and with the ball. It's Scott on the move. Jeff Tambroni could not say enough complimentary things about Ross Scott, man who burned his team last year. Tremendous game that went to overtime. Scott had the game tying tally in the final 10 seconds. Then he won it in OT.
He's awesome. I mean, we had a chance to talk to him and Ethan Rawl last week. Just a cool kid.
Jump shot there. Fressian on the angle. No troubles for that bid from Ringer.
He wasn't too, oh wow. Little de-sticking here at Penn State.
Sweeney made the takeaway check, but didn't come up with a ball. It will be possession, though, for the Nittany Lions.
Yeah, unlucky. He loses his stick, and then as the Penn State player, Sweeney, goes to make a play on it, the ball is still loose. The stick is not possessed. That becomes an illegal procedure. Turnover to the Nittany Lions.
Penn State, a perfectly clean 5-0 at Panzer this season. Their best home mark since 2019, when they were 7-0. That 2019 team went all the way to championship weekend.
What a team that was. Grant Ament, Mac O'Keefe, Chris Sabia leading the defense. Good group.
Costin's feed, flag down there, but Apgar was attached to Malone. There is a flag down, as the officials will speak.
Rutgers now is just getting really, really sloppy. I believe this will be their second offsides in a row. And it is. That's just about being smart. And you never count backwards, folks. You always count forward. So if you only have 2 players back on your end, it's okay as long as you only have 6 on the other side. But Rutgers had 7. That's a big no-no.
Jimmy Ryan is the defensive coordinator for Rutgers. His man-down unit's on the carpet, on the hot seat right now. But a bad pass there gives Rutgers the ball.
Yeah, a little too hasty. No real reason to make that home run pass that early in the extra man set.
3 minutes left in this opening half. It was 5-1 Penn State after 15. Knobloch subbing in an attack for the injured Cameron. Bryan, definitely one of the Scarlet Knights' big 3 when it comes to offense.
No, without question.
There's going to be a timeout taken by Rutgers with 2:41 to go in the first half.
Here we get a look at Brian Brecht and his offensive coordinator, Eric Saramet. They've got some time to cook something up to get another marker on the ledger.
Mark, we're enjoying this battle between a couple of top 12 teams. Let's have a peek at the top 11 in the nation.
Yeah, you look at the Big Ten, well represented with Maryland, Penn State, Hopkins. Again, that's the race for the number 1 seed between those 3 ball clubs. Rutgers sitting at 11. And you look nationally, Notre Dame, Duke, Virginia. Duke beating Virginia for the 18th consecutive time last weekend in the regular season. Huge matchup tomorrow in South Bend, Notre Dame and North Carolina. Cornell scored a big victory over Army last weekend, where C.J. Kirst, their potential Tewaaraton candidate, well, he is a Tewaaraton candidate, held to no goals. Georgetown's finding their groove. The Denver Pioneers and Bill Tierney's last year named Matt Brown, his successor, just a couple days ago. Congratulations to Brownie. They will take on Providence, but right now for this year, Joe, 2023, top to bottom, I don't think there's been a more competitive season of Big Ten men's lacrosse.
Mark, you mentioned Bill Tierney there for a moment. Early in the season, the Denver Pioneers were on the road. We just happened to be in the same airport together, and I saw Coach T, and I went over, and 90 minutes of time went by in about 4 seconds, listening to him tell stories of his magnificent career.
He's incredible, and I've been fortunate enough to call Coach Tierney a friend of mine. My younger son, Owen, grew up a Denver Pioneer fan, and their run to the 2015 National Championship, Coach Tierney, we were in the same hotel as the Denver Pioneers. Coach Tierney allowed Owen to go to breakfast each morning with his Pios. And when they beat Notre Dame in overtime in the semifinals, Coach T said, "You're a good luck charm."
Knobloch fires, and another sprawling save for Frassi, and his clearing attempt was deflected. Ross Scott recovers for Rutgers in black.
Yeah, this is a Rutgers team that is being opportunistic right now. Good job of knocking down that outlet pass to get another possession and a reset of the shot clock.
2 and change to go in the opening half. Shane Murphy, freshman, has the ball now, 9 in the black. That pass is too tall. Over and back, it belongs to Penn State. Malone waiting for reinforcements, and then TJ will jog into the offensive third. Number 1, TJ Malone, number 7 on his back, but number 1 in terms of points in the Big Ten this season.
Malone has been such a difference maker for Penn State, hampered by injuries the last 2 years. He is just thankful to be out there playing the game he loves and helping his team get the job done.
Officials going to give the ball to Rutgers, another offside. Back come the Scarlet Knights. 90 seconds to play in this opening half.
Yeah, some type of procedure was against Penn State. That turns the ball over, and now the Scarlet Knights looking to make something happen.
Scott, flushed out by Frasian, traded off there to Posey. Ross, Scott. Attacking in now from the wing and then back behind the cage. Murphy hesitates against Alex Ross. 40 seconds in the shot clock for the Scarlet Knights. Knobloch ready to go. Knobloch cradling away from Parnham.
This is Kevin Parnham. 55 in white has done a magnificent job on Knobloch thus far.
Skip it on through. No room still. The feed to the interior. Nice catch. Turning and fires. Justin Kim just missed it there.
I really like that play. Murphy did a great job at directing Kim. Great handle by Kim. Just got to finish that.
Shot clock's at 17. The rain is back in the picture now at Panzer Stadium, and it's pretty heavy. That pass is picked off. Frasian has it in his cross. Final 30 seconds. Penn State can have the last possession of the opening half.
Good defense, but they really dodge a bullet right there.
Long drive. Knocked aside there by Mullen, the former Harvard captain. Shuffled across to make that save. Waning stages of the second quarter. Mullen checking that as he's being ridden there by Malone. 5 seconds to go. Launched the length of the field. Spinning attempt there from Kulis that goes high and wide, and we are done with 30 in State College, PA.
Just an uneven effort thus far from Rutgers. Got jumped in the first quarter, battled back here in the second, but the offsides, the turnovers, hampering them. But you got to give them credit. They continue to scratch and claw. And if you're Penn State, I think the message at the locker room is, let's finish this. They've had opportunities to get even more distance between them and the Scarlet Knights. I like the way Jack Frasian played between the pipes in that first 30 minutes.
It was Frasian and the defense that made sure Rutgers did not score in the final 12 minutes of the opening half. As far as the tally sheet for Penn State, 7 different guys on the board as the fans protect themselves from the rain in what is now a 7-3 lead for the Nittany Lions. We will step aside. Mark and I will continue and begin first half intermission festivities. The Nittany Lions on senior night. Starting out swiftly, they put the first 5 on the board. It's 7-3 for the hosts after 30 minutes of play.
There's your biggie bag. All that food for $5, right. That's my go-to.
Ooh, that's my ride or die.
Just like you and me. Bag boys. Bag boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when we bring your food?
You can always bet on Biggie. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag.
You know, Doug, ever since switching to Workday, you've been a real rock star.
Rock star? What do you know about rock stars?
Billy Idol?
I mean, where's the skin-tight leather?
The shoes are leather,
Where's the unnecessary zippers? That thing!
Billy, Rockstar is just how Doug feels when he uses Workday. Thanks, Rory.
I'll show you Rockstar.
Be a finance and HR rockstar. Workday for a changing world.
Billy Idol just stole your golf cart.
You got a minute? How about all weekend? Let's go. Ahora. I'm a Miami hotel. I'm looking for someone who loves Art Deco elegance, good times, and unexpected flavors. Someone who likes it hot but knows how to keep their cool. A white sand beach where you can see the sunrise. Way better than whatever you were going to binge watch this weekend. And you can be here in half the time. Find me at Hotels.com.
Maybe this gender reveal party was a bad idea. What do we do?
Add the avocados from Mexico.
Good call. I can't believe they taste good and they're good for you.
I can't believe you're having a girl.
5th time's a charm.
We have 7 kids.
Good times made possible by the official sponsor of Good.
Avocados from Mexico.
Fans, for the biggest Big Ten experience, there's no plus like home. The Big Ten Plus app that's powered by Big Ten Network. Download and subscribe now. We played 2 action-packed quarters inside of Panzer Stadium. It's Penn State in front of visiting Rutgers 7-3. Joe Beninati, Mark Dixon with you on Big Ten Network. So, Mark, when you size up Penn State's performance in the first half, what went well for them?
Well, I thought they shot the ball incredibly well, especially in the first quarter. 5 out of the first 7 shots found on the back of the net. And then Jack Frassion playing really well between the pipes. He has 11 saves. And you got to credit guys like Kevin Parnham on the defensive end. He's drawn the assignment of Shane Knobloch, and he has shut number 27 down.
Frassion backing things up for Penn State, and his work in the first half, as expected, he leads the conference in saves. He's adding big numbers to those tonight.
Yeah, he was seeing the ball really well early on. Love his reaction. You know he's athletic. And that's the only thing that I would criticize of his game is giving up rebounds. But his ability to make clean saves, though, he has been really patient and really smart in the clearing game.
TJ Malone's a terrific playmaker and feeder.
Yeah, and he's going to draw a lot of attention from this Rutgers defense. He can score, so he's going to draw slides. I think he crossed up the Scarlet Knight defense in that first half. I thought they did a better job of playing him in the second quarter, but number 7, when he's got the ball in his stick, watch out.
It was a very, very effective first quarter for the Nittany Lions. That's really the difference in this one. 7-3 after 2 frames. Back with more at the half.
So cozy.
How many rooms are in there?
Should we go check it out?
Yeah.
We get to stay here all weekend.
When you stay at a Verbo,
I call doing the door code.
the host doesn't stay with you.
It looks exactly like the picture.
Because without privacy in your vacation home,
It's a full log cabin, guys.
it isn't really a vacation,
Snuggle up by the fire.
is it?
Oh my God.
They'll be here in 5. We ready?
There's a...
Oh.
We'll just put books here, and that looks fine.
That's bad. There we go.
Ooh, that's no good.
I can just go.
Yeah. Can you do that the whole day?
That works.
Not a big deal.
I can't stop.
I don't have it. I don't have it.
Left. Perfect.
We should have used Bear.
Yeah.
Today, let's paint, spray, and stain with Bear, America's most trusted paint brand.
Was the fridge here before?
Yes.
Bear, exclusively at the Home Depot.
Maria's ready to buy her first home.
But a down payment and closing costs, those are big checks.
Good thing I have big news. Come on. When you buy with Rocket Homes and finance with Rocket Mortgage, you get up to $10,000 cash toward closing from Rocket Mortgage. Yeah, and one you can get only with Rocket. Isn't that a good deal? That's a good deal, right?
Visit onlywithrocket.com to get started today.
If you have moderate to severe Crohn's disease, Skyrizi is the first and only IL-23 inhibitor that can deliver clinical remission and endoscopic improvement.
Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, had a vaccine, or plan to. Liver problems may occur in Crohn's disease.
Control of Crohn's means everything to me. Ask your gastroenterologist about Skyrizi. Learn how AbbVie could help you save.
Folks, tomorrow night, don't miss women's lacrosse. Northwestern and Maryland, 2 teams that have won 19 of the last 27 NCAA titles. They battle in the regular season finale. Live coverage begins tomorrow at 8 Eastern, only on Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. Libby May for Maryland, Izzy Skane for Northwestern. Very, very much worth your attention. As we look at the halftime stats, it was Rutgers that went cold over the last 12 minutes of the opening half. You see the save totals. Frassion nearly a dozen in the first 2 quarters tonight. Each team had some extra man opportunities. We'll see how things unfold in quarter number 3. Bring the boys back to the field right after this.
Wait, Dad. What's the ocean like?
You were made to remember some days forever. We were made to help you find the best way there.
The following transformation is real, but temporary. Now any guy can temporarily cover grays, fill in thin patchy areas, and create a fuller, defined look for beard and brows. New just for men, One Day Beard and Brow. Breakthrough color that stays put for the day till you wash it out. Transform your look. New just for men, One Day Beard and Brow color.
Welcome back
to just try it. Let's tell Patricia what she's won. You get to try new Dr. Pepper strawberries and cream.
It's delicious Dr. Pepper with refreshing strawberry flavor.
And a smooth, creamy finish. But wait, there's more. Why not try it in your brand new car?
It's a strawberries and cream 4x4. Enjoy that new car flavor.
What do you have to say, Patricia?
Just try it. Try new Dr. Pepper strawberries and cream.
Nittany Lions have a 7-3 lead over the Rutgers Scarlet Knights through 30 minutes of play here at Panzer Stadium. Before we begin the third, let's chat with Brian Breck, the head coach of the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Brian, what needs to happen for your offense to get in gear in the second half?
Yeah, I think we had some shots. I think the shots we're getting we can take any time, so would like to give a little relief to the defense. They're playing an awful lot and coming on strong the last quarter. So I just think we need to possess the ball a little better, take better quality shots, and we seem to be settling in. I hate starting down 5-0, but that's the hole we dug ourselves, and we got to chip away at it one at a time.
Coach, defensively, what'd you like, and what do you think you can do better in the next 30 minutes?
I thought we were much better prepared, this week than giving up some of those early goals on those picks and sweeps and the throwbacks. Not happy with that. Falling asleep at the switch and our lack of focus. So we buttoned that up a little bit, and now we just got to start settling in a little bit more, giving the offense a little more possessions on their end.
Brian, thanks very much for the help. Let us know if you want an umbrella.
Yeah, thank you.
As the rain comes down here at Panzer Stadium on the campus of Penn State University. This was a 6 p.m. Eastern time start. Around 5:30 today, we had a downpour. And then very, very late in the second quarter, the rain began once again. And we begin quarter three with Chase Mullins winning the draw, getting the better of John Duhenio. We've seen Duhenio and Joe Newman share face-off duties tonight for Coach Breck. Visiting Rutgers in the black, trails by 4 as the second half begins.
Yeah, I think that was a very generous offer you made to Coach Breck for an umbrella, but he's a Long Island guy. He's tough. He's going to turn you down.
Malone fires, he scores! Right off the jump, it's TJ Malone.
Malone has been carving up Rutgers with assists in the first quarter. In the second quarter, it came on an extra man. But Coach Breck just talked about those slips and the picks. And here, they're just not going to respect TJ Malone, the feeder. He gets ahead of steam, gets top side, and is just going to dust the defense. There's the pick, and he just turns it on right there. No need to throw back, and that's confidence, shooting high to high and putting it right under the crossbar.
Malone with a goal and 3 assists in the game already. He has had 3 or more assists in games 5 times this season for Penn State. It's 8-3, equaling the largest lead on the night. Off the ground on the face-off, LeJon Jones Jr. gets possession for the Scarlet Knights.
And not the way you want to start the second half if you're Rutgers. Quick strike by Penn State, roughly 35 seconds in. They've got to dig in and chip away one at a time. There's not one thing that's really, really working for Rutgers. For my money, Shane Knobloch, 27 in black, has got to assume some of the load and get going offensively.
Working in, right on cue, that's Knobloch sending that worm burner wide of the goal, and along the end line, Penn State was closest to it where and when it left the flaying surface.
Yeah, unlucky for Rutgers. The attackman tried to snag that errant shot, and when it went under his stick, Alex Ross, the Penn State defender, was already halfway to the end line.
Grant Hawes, one of 9 seniors on senior night here at Panzer Stadium. Those players honored for their dedication, their service to Penn State lacrosse with their families. Always a nice show of support from the family in town for a final regular season home date.
There was a big Tasty sighting. Joe,
no,
Caleb
really?
Fyock, younger brother of Alaric Fyock, goalie for Penn State. Of course, little brother will be going to Ohio State next year, but had a chance to catch up with Tasty.
Malone fires. That's a tasty-looking stop there for Mullen. One of my favorite nicknames that you drop, Big Tasty.
Great kid. Played with the Crabs Lacrosse Club. Teammates with my son, Owen. Helped them win the NLF National Championship this past summer. And his St. John's team, big victory over Bullis this week. Caleb Fyock. And when you meet him, he is big.
This is a Rutgers team with at least 10 goals in 13 of its last 16. But recently held to single digits. Turning here. There's your man, Knobloch on the board.
When you're all Big Ten and All-American, you've got to answer the bell, and we know Shane Knobloch will. This is why Eric Saramet and Jimmy Ryan put him on the offensive end. Just backs out, gets just enough separation off of that pick, and is able to turn the corner, get an angle. Just that little brush that is created. And there we see Frassian guessing low. He puts it mid and solves number 50 in white.
Shane Knobloch, first team all Big Ten midfielder playing attack. We mentioned that Brian Cameron is out. Brian Brecht, head coach for Rutgers, said they're hopeful that Cameron will be available for April 29th, the beginning of the Big Ten tournament. Rutgers within 4 and with the ball. Knobloch has it again, picked up a long way from the cage by Parnham.
Yeah, again, Rutgers wins this game, and Ohio State loses later on tonight to Michigan. They get the number 4 seed, and that's big because then they get a home game at SHI Stadium next weekend.
If Penn State wins, they assure themselves of at least a share of the Big Ten regular season title.
Yeah.
And they'll wait and watch how Hopkins and Maryland unfolds tomorrow.
Yeah, I think that, more importantly, Joe, I think they want that number 1 seed. They want that bye in the first round.
Ross Scott, by his own admission, he says, I'm undersized. His game is huge, though. On the end line, the run for it, it'll be Penn State ball. Alex Ross was there, the freshman from Maryland.
Thus far, Penn State handling their side of the equation. And again, a Penn State victory and then a Hopkins victory tomorrow against Maryland gives the Nittany Lions that number 1 seed.
Because they beat Johns Hopkins straight up on the OT winner from Kevin Winkoff, who has the ball now. Sharing the rock with Matt Traynor. Heel jog picked up by John Miller. We're seeing Miller get more and more time at short stick defensive midfield for Jimmy Ryan's defense. Miller coming back off the injured list. Malone with Stahanczyk nearby. Malone turns, feed it over the top. Jack Traynor will keep it hot. Malone will try it again. 30 seconds on the shot clock. Matt Traynor waits. To brother Jack, then around the horn. Matt Costin on the move. Here comes a double team from Apgar. Shot clock's at 15. Malone had it checked out of his cross, and it comes up for Rutgers.
Yeah, nice defense by the Scarlet Knights. They were more buttoned up. You could hear the communication up here, bouncing off of the field at Panzer. Much better talk, much better support during that sequence for Rutgers.
It's a veteran close defensive trio, Stahanczyk, Russo, and Apgar that did the trick there. Scott on the move. He has Posey hung up. Frassi in the netminder sneaks out of the crease to flush him out.
Isn't it? Don't you feel like Rutgers is always that experienced older team with that graduate transfer situation? The attack a couple years ago, Mullins, Charlambitis, Gallagher, some old dudes.
Sprock on the move here. Here comes the double. Ball deflected away. Perimeter defense for the Nittany Lions, stout there. Against a Rutgers team that set a program record for wins last year with 15 of them. It's Scott and Posey. 2-man game. Ross Scott looking for a cutter. Snapshot here, whistled high. David Sprock let it fly. Shot clock's at 12.
Loving the offense right now for Rutgers. It's just taking them a little extra time.
Pass to the interior, plucked out of the air by Frassian. Mark, to your point, Brian Breck will often tell us during the week, we need to take shots that we love more than the ones that we just like.
Yeah, and this is an offense that has to work more for it, especially with Brian Cameron out of the game. You think about the players that have come through this program for Rutgers, and you mentioned their national semifinalist team from a year ago. They had more of a quick strike capability to their offense. This time they can put it together, but it just takes a little bit minute to bake longer in the oven.
The Knobloch goal that made it 8-4 ended a nearly 15-minute drought for Rutgers. They have possession now at the offensive end. It's Knobloch. On the exchange, Ross Scott stopping and starting, turns the corner. Sent that one wide. He had a sliver of space to pull the trigger. On the sideline, they're going to award the ball to Hawes and the Nittany Lions.
Better angle taken by Grant Hawes to where and when that ball was going out of bounds. Terrific hustle.
Ryan O'Connor's a long stick midfielder. Wears 42 in the white. He'll jog out as Winkoff will wait for more offensive-minded subs to come off of Coach Tambroni's bench. Two teams have traded markers in this third quarter, which is now more than 8 minutes old.
And you think about this Penn State program, Joe. They are the only intruders to hoist that Big Ten tournament championship outside of Johns Hopkins and Maryland. Did it in 2019, knocking off the Blue Jays in overtime. I think they're primed to make another run at that tournament title.
Hobbs working in against Daniels. I would agree. We've seen them a number of times this season, and that 8-3 mark is a very good one. Working here, the pass to the inside, just snapped wide. A great look for Luke Mercer on a relay from Long.
Yeah, I mean, you look at this resume of Penn State, when you think about it, RPI strong, strength of schedule strong. RPI wins against Yale, Cornell, Penn, knocked off Michigan, Ohio State, and Johns Hopkins.
The losses for Penn State to Villanova, Marquette, and Maryland within the conference. Big turnaround season for the Nittany Lions, who were just 3-11 a year ago and 1-4 in conference play.
And I feel like they've been a different team somewhat since that loss to Marquette on Long Island and then that disappointing loss to Maryland. Coach Tambroni telling us that the players have taken accountability of this season, and they're the ones getting guys together. In other words, the coaches don't have to put the foot in the behind. It's the players that say, look, we're good enough and we got to be better.
Amon on the move here for Rutgers. The only team in the Big Ten with 4 different 20-goal scorers. That's the Scarlet Knights. Scott on the move. Off of a pick. And throw back here. McVicker defending against Murphy. It's Scott over the top. Shot clock at 15. Amon on the move. Bouncer off the inside of the post. The big rebound to the sideline, and it is Aldridge there first for Penn State.
And again, unlucky for Rutgers, just the bounce that goes to the sideline. A better angle for Penn State. Again, good offense for the Scarlet Knights, but it takes 70, 75, 80 seconds for them to get that quality look.
Mark, what is the secret of a good bounce shot?
I mean, it depends on the surface. On a grass surface, you just kind of let it go and hope it hits a rock and take a funny bounce. But, on a wet turf, skip it. It's always good to high bounce it, higher on the crease.
Winkoff fires. That one grazed the frame and went high. We've seen a couple of really good bouncers tonight.
Yeah, I mean, with poles, I love the bounce shot from poles because they always bounce it a foot in front of or just a foot inside the crease.
The old goalie, emphasis on old, hates any shot from the long stick. So hard to track. This will bounce to the sideline. Rutgers is awarded possession. Been a low-scoring third quarter. It was 7-3 in favor of Penn State at the halftime break. Scarlet Knights attempting to clear. Russo working in back with Mullen. Russo, the 2022 Big Ten Sportsmanship Award winner. The clear for Andrew Machika, freshman short stick defensive midfielder, and he'll share it with Ross Scott. Posey picks him up. Jeff Tambroni said at the outset of the season, a player like Posey who's shown such amazing growth in his game from one year to the next.
He really has. I mean, he is one of the best lockdown defenders in the country.
Knobloch off the sweep, sent it wide, backed up by Scott.
I like Knobloch. I know he scored his goal curling from behind, but I like him up top. Get a little pick. And the reason I like him up top is he can shoot from any release point. I mean, he can be arms close, arms out, whatever you want, he can do it.
Sprocked on the feed there. Snapshot there from Amon that goes wide. Once we learned that Knobloch was going to sub in a little for Cameron tonight at attack, I asked Coach Breck, when was the last time he's played attack? And Brian admittedly said, I have no idea.
Yeah, who knows?
Been a while. Just need that guy on the field all the time. Amon, jitterbugs to the inside, kick save, Frassian. The conference leader in saves per game is in double figures again. Frassian's done that 10 times this year. As we tick towards the end of the third quarter, 4 minutes with which to work. Enjoying a good battle between Penn State and Rutgers. Rutgers has won the last 3 meetings between these two.
Yeah, so that's a little bit of the motivation factor for the Nittany Lions. Dropped 2 in the conference-only season of 2021, and then the heartbreaker last year. Penn State knew they weren't going anywhere, but that game was to set the tone for this year. And although they lost, I think that it did that. They competed. They lost in overtime, but they showed they could play with the Scarlet Knights.
Winkoff gives it up. Malone fires, and that's chested down by Mullen.
I like Mullen, and I love how he gets down low, and I love how he uses his body.
Leads the league and conference in goals against average, does Mullen. Rawl clears it quickly. Bouncers on the way. It's just slugged wide. That was the dangerous short stick D-Mitty Noah Daniels that missed the target. No backup there, so it's Penn State ball.
Alex Ross again just running to that end line. So heady, so smart. I love the fact that Daniels has a green light. I haven't seen him take a bad shot now in 2 weeks.
It was a rarity to see him without a point against Maryland in the loss last week. 11-8 in Piscataway at SHI Stadium. The last time Rutgers was here at Panzer, they scored 22, by the way. They've been held to 4 for the moment. Winkoff around the corner, fires. Mullen says, no, you don't. Mullen fields that one cleanly, and back come the Scarlet Knights in black.
Well, right now the defense for Rutgers is keeping them in the game. I like the way they're playing. I like the way Mullen is seeing the ball. He's making clean saves. It's now time for the offense to take some relief.
Knobloch calls his own number, a left-handed shot that went wide. Waning stages of the third quarter. Penn State doubling up Rutgers. A Rutgers team that's won 6 of its last 9 overall, but has fallen in 3 of its 4 lately. Get things set with Logan Peters and Ringer closing. Bouncer sails high. 2 minutes to go in the third. Knobloch has it in his cross. Off the split dodge from left to right. A sharp angle bid that missed the target there.
Yeah, that's what I like about Knobloch. I like the fact that he can split. He can get that shot off from anywhere. And next time they set that pick, maybe he goes over the top and tries to get to the middle of the field and increase his angle.
Knobloch, son of Dina and KC. Dad KC was a football and baseball player at Delaware. Ringer lets it go. Frassian another save. That's a familiar move on his strong side low.
Yeah. Goes to the split. Goes to his keister. Saves it with the stick. Frassian's on point tonight. A little shaky, if you want to call it that, in the beginning of the quarter. A couple pipes and then the goal that came from Sprock. But since then, he has been terrific.
Frassian's first ever collegiate start was against Rutgers a season ago. Penn State in the white with the ball. Just about a minute left in quarter 3. Malone surveys. Turning the corner there. Score! Ethan Long.
It's been like a ping pong match. A long volley. Back and forth and back and forth, across the table, back and forth, until Ethan Long takes the opportunity, just sprints from X recognizes the matchup. His defender's on the other side of the cage. He gets topside, sneaks it past Kyle Mullen. Rutgers was unable to close the gap, and the Nittany Lions go up again by 5.
The Hyundai Tucson comes with America's best warranty. It's like a mental vacation from worry that no other brand offers. Free from worry on ski trips, at the beach, don't get too sandy now, or way out in wherever. Take a mental vacation or a vacation in the Hyundai Tucson and leave those worries behind. The Hyundai Tucson with America's best warranty.
Take on the day. With Taltz, up to 90% of patients saw a significant improvement of their psoriasis plaques. Some even saw 100% clear skin. And for those with psoriatic arthritis, Taltz reduces joint pain and stiffness. Don't use if you are allergic to Taltz. Before starting, get checked for tuberculosis. Increased risk of infections and lower ability to fight them may occur. Tell your doctor about infections, symptoms, or if inflammatory bowel disease symptoms develop, worsen, or if you had a vaccine or plan to. Serious allergic reactions can occur. Ask your doctor about Taltz.
Folks, on July 15th, the BTN Big 10K returns to Soldier Field in Chicago for the fantastic 10K and 5K races and tailgate party. Scan that QR code you see on the screen or register right now at btnbig10k.com. Jeff Tambroni's squad looking mighty fine with respect to an NCAA tournament resume.
Yeah, the strength of schedule is unofficial. NCAA hasn't released it yet, but Lacrosse Reference does a nice job. 9. The RPI is 8. Look at those top 5 wins. Johns Hopkins and Cornell. 2 top 10 wins, Yale and Penn. And then 2 top 20 markers on their resume, Ohio State and Michigan. I think this is a Penn State team, Joe, that's in line to host a first-round NCAA tournament game.
Penn State, they've held opponents under 10 goals in 2 of their last 3 games. They've limited Rutgers to just 4 tonight with 40 seconds to play in the third quarter. Solid at the defensive end. Frassian continues to make saves by the bushel. Posey peeking out on Scott. He's done a nice job of trying to keep Ross quiet. That's an unenviable assignment. Bulldozing in. Late in the quarter, snapshot rattles around and out. How many times has Frassian heard a very complimentary ping of a post?
4 or 5 by my unofficial ding counter.
The ding. Frassian launching this one about 80 yards, skipping it past Jack Traynor. And that will do it for 3 quarters at Panzer.
Jack Frack. Good shot. And look at it just ring off the iron. That had to be the 3rd or 4th of the quarter for Rutgers. Very unlucky as they're trying to get back into this game.
I was going to say, you have to be lucky to be good and good to be lucky. Frassian just that. Penn State in the driver's seat against Brian Breck.
No one can take better care of your child than you can. But when they start getting into everything, you may need a little help. So Duracell created the only lithium coin batteries with a non-toxic bitter coating to help discourage swallowing, making safety simple and giving you more peace of mind.
Next on Behind the Series.
In all my years of playing, man, that 22 draft was something special.
If I hadn't seen it in person, I wouldn't have believed it.
Where can I even start?
The monster. It was scary good.
The outlaw? Come on.
Philly had beef with everyone. And by beef, I mean tender, juicy steak.
It wasn't just a roster. It was a menu.
The Subway Series, the greatest menu of all time.
I'm getting hungry just to... Hey, can we take a... Hey, can I get a sandwich?
New and existing customers can choose the phone they want, like the incredible iPhone 14 on us.
Not to brag, but I'm on Verizon now. And I got to choose the phone I wanted for free.
Not that you're bragging.
Choose the phone you want on us. Verizon.
Much to the joy of Penn State coach Jeff Tambroni and the lament of Brian Brecht of Rutgers, that first quarter is the difference. Penn State outscoring Rutgers 5-1 in the opening frame, leading 9-4 mark as we head to the fourth.
Yeah, and we've seen this before. We saw it last weekend when Rutgers fell behind 5-0 to Maryland. Were able to play that. They are actually able to get the better of Maryland through the final three quarters, eventually losing 11-8, but you just can't start these games slow and put yourselves down, put yourselves in a hole against any of these Big Ten teams. Any of these conference games, they are so meaningful, so intense. You just got to get off to that. You don't have to get off to the perfect start every game, but you just can't get off to a bad start. And unfortunately for Rutgers, that's what's happened these last 2 weeks.
Joe Newman took the draw for Rutgers to start the fourth quarter against Chase Mullins. Rutgers is in the black. Bottom of the hour time. 3 cheers for all the men and women in our technical crew. Joe Beninati, Mark Dixon with you tonight. Lacrosse on Big Ten Network. Here from Panzer Stadium. Overcast skies as Justin Kim backs away and fires. That's another stop for Frassian and another ball that rattled around the goal mouth. Sweeney on the fly for the Nittany Lions in white.
Man, it's like Frassian's tough enough to beat, but it's almost like there's an invisible force field protecting his cage.
Or the goalposts are a foot wide.
Man, I'm telling you. I mean, that was another well-placed shot. It looks like it may have hit the post and then bounced off and hit Frassian in the back. Rutgers just inches away from making this a more competitive game than it already is.
Morin on the go, getting into the alley. Will kick it. Jack Traynor speeds in there against Russo, who will defend. Bring it around for Winkoff. He's picked up by Ethan Rahl. Rahl closing in on the Rutgers record for caused turnovers all time. He began the night 4 off of it. It's Morin against Reynolds. Shot clock at 20. Jack Traynor, who scored 6 goals, all of them in the second half last week. Bring it back behind the cage against Decker. Jack Traynor's jump shot is over the crossbar. 9 seconds to shoot for Penn State. Winkoff will bring it in off the end line. Angles back, tries that shovel shot, missed the target. 2 seconds on the shot clock. It's going to be awarded to Penn State. They'll fling it, and that'll be a shot clock violation, and Rutgers ball.
Yeah, times are getting short for the Scarlet Knights. They've got to make their move. Again, the best they can do for the Big Ten tournament is, wow. I mean, you just run yourself into a bad situation.
Off the hitch, fire and score! Winkoff!
No jogging is allowed, especially if you're a short stick midfielder. Clearing the ball from defense to offense. You've got to go 110 miles an hour like your hair is on fire. Remy Reynolds is just jogging, and then he takes a really poor decision going right next to the sideline, and credit Sickler for using the sideline as a teammate, shoves him out of bounds, gets it up to Winkoff. Beautiful hitch move. But man, the Rutgers defense really didn't stand a chance after that turnover by Remy Reynolds on that failed clear.
Winkoff and Long, the multi-goal scorers for Penn State now. Newman gets the draw, but then shoveled it back. He gave it back to Penn State.
Yeah, bad communication. And again, Rutgers, they just have these lapses in judgment that come at the most inopportune times and really cost them in the big scheme of things. Again, they're just they're playing for that number 4 seed, which would mean they would host a game next weekend versus traveling across the country to either Michigan or Ohio State.
Rutgers has won 16 of its last 17 at home. We have seen, Mark, Rutgers score 7 in Columbus, just 8 against Maryland, and tonight be held to 4 by Penn State. Nittany Lions' biggest lead of the game right now. On the cutter there, bang! It's Mac Hobbs.
Well, this defense for Rutgers did their job in the third quarter. They held Penn State at bay. Just give credit to Fracion and that Penn State defense and the goalposts, keeping Rutgers off the score sheet. And here it's just a hung-up situation. TJ Malone finds Hobbs streaking down the alley, and he's able to roof it against Mullen to get this Penn State advantage up to 7.
Hobbs, who has a couple of cousins who've played in the National Football League. Cousin Robert Spillane with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Cousin Ryan, a tight end for the Green Bay Packers. Suddenly, Penn State's lead grows to 7. Scarlet Knights trapped on the sideline there. That was John Miller in hot water. Off the ground. Great scoop by Ethan Rawl. Rawl taking it to the cage. Rawl all the way. Goes behind the back. He just missed. The first career goal for Mac Hobbs is on the board, and it's number 11 for the Nittany Lions.
Ethan Rawl, great play. But I tell you what, Joe, for as good as Ethan Rawl is, that's the first time we've called his name tonight that I can recall. I mean, a tough ground ball. Almost had an opportunity to score a goal, but the middle of the field really has not been an issue tonight between these two teams.
Sharp angle. Fracion makes the save there. Earlier in the week, we were asking Brian Brecht if his team was generating enough unsettled situations, fast break situations for that rope unit for the short stick D-mids. He goes, probably not to the level that we've done over the last decade, but we've got to pick our battles here and there. Rawl in the past, and most recent season, with goals against Maryland and Penn back in 2022. 11-4 for the Nittany Lions.
Yeah, I think you got to give a lot of credit, Joe, to the Penn State defensive substitutions. They're getting back in the hole. Whenever Mullins is making a pass, he's looking upfield to try to create that NASCAR-type environment. Penn State is just dropping back in almost a zone ride and not allowing them to get underneath.
Russo defending on Jack Traynor. Isolation. The bouncer there from Ethan Long. Backed up on the end line. It'll stay Penn State ball. Almost 5 minutes into the fourth. And a timeout taken here at Panzer Stadium. A chance for us to step away. Coach Tambroni will bring him into the classroom with the Nittany Lions in charge on Big Ten Network.
How does Little Caesars know when to bring back pretzel crust?
I'm sure they've got it down to a science. Do something.
Come on.
He's dancing! Pretzel Pete has busted a move. Pretzel crust is back!
Yeah, nah, they definitely know what they're doing.
The crust the world craves is back at Little Caesars.
Pizza, pizza.
The all-new Chevy Colorado is made for more. Bring more. See more. And be more. The all-new Chevy Colorado, made for more.
While we are getting later in the fourth at Panzer Stadium on the left, it's the Michigan Lacrosse Stadium getting set to host a rivalry weekend Friday night matchup between the Wolverines and the Buckeyes. Doubleheader continuing with the rivalry matchup only on Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. Jason Ross Jr. and Greg Bice, your announced team in Ann Arbor for that one. Penn State in control of this contest, 11-4 over visiting Rutgers. A Penn State squad dressed in white that's won its last 3 games. Threatening to go 9-3 on the campaign. Jack Traynor slithers inside. beats 2 defenders, fires from the angle. That's off the frame, outside of the cage. The ball belongs to Rutgers.
How about Rutgers out of the timeout? They insert number 30.
Palma.
Anthony Palma.
Yep.
Goaltender, lefty. Gets in there. Tried to create the turnover. Obviously, he's a more athletic goalie.
We saw Anthony sub in for Mullen at Johns Hopkins. It was a really difficult first quarter for Kyle Mullen. I want to say he made no saves in that game against the Blue Jays. Palma came off the bench, made 9 stops in relief, finished the entire game, in fact, played the last 45 minutes.
Yeah, Mullen's been pretty good tonight, but I like the wrinkle that Brian Breck throws at Penn State out of the timeout, vacating the cage, double teaming the ball. They almost got the turnover.
Matt Costin moving on the sweep. Costin hung his stick there. He was trail checked. Beautifully timed there by the Rutgers defense. And now the Scarlet Knights will glide back with Ryan Decker. Decker turns offensive here, pumps this one on a bouncer over Frassian. Keep it with the Scarlet Knights. Just 8:50 with which to work. In their rally attempt, they're down by a boatload. Knobloch a long way from the cage. Kevin Parnham has done a very nice job against Knobloch throughout the night. Ross Scott reels this in off the roll dodge. Rolls into a double team. Still keeps it in his cross. Scott able to cradle to safety there. Feed it to the front. Just off of Amon. Ball down. Savetti scoops. Bring it for Knobloch. 30 seconds on the shot clock. Justin Kim, towering midfielder, works inside against Sickler, who went over the head, and back comes Penn State.
Yeah, I really like Mark Sickler. You know, Grant Haas was the top returning short stick D midi for Penn State this year, and Sickler, who was an offensive midfielder, converted by Jeff Tambroni and new defensive coordinator Joe Bucci. We've seen him score a goal tonight. So talented.
Ball down. Rawl collects. Counter punching with Remington Reynolds. Remy driving in. Then Stahanczyk lets it fly. Scores! Jack Stahanczyk.
This is the transition that we talk about when you think of Rutgers lacrosse and you talk about Rutgers lacrosse. Create the turnover. Get it up and out fast. Find somebody who can find the back of the cage. In this case, it's Stahanczyk. Nice disruptive play by guess who? Ethan Rawl. Head up, hits Reynolds, and now you know you have a flat break. Stahanczyk has the confidence, 7 inches of titanium, whips it past Frassian. Rutgers still with a pulse.
The senior from Milford, Ohio, on the board for the Scarlet Knights. They're within 6. Important draw collected here. Off the wing by Aldridge of Penn State.
And we've emphasized tonight Rutgers playing for that 4 seed in the Big Ten tournament, but also just as big, they need this kind of an RPI win to boost their tournament resume. As I mentioned, they have 2 top 20 wins on their resume. This would be a top 10 and would go a long way if they can come back some way, somehow against Penn State.
Stahanczyk's first ever goal, breathing some life into Rutgers, but time's wasted now. Less than 7 minutes to play in the 4th. Morin dragging it away from Daniels. Long shot, score! Another rip from Luke Mercer.
Take a bow. Number 19, the junior from Katona, New York. A twofer tonight on senior day for Mercer. Last time it was off the dribble, sets his feet and delivers the high bouncer. This time, feet set, steps in, uses the defender as a screen, and whistles a high-to-high dart past Palma. Look at the velocity and the placement of that bad boy. Beautiful shot by Mercer.
Mercer, 2 tallies against Cornell and Villanova on his resume. Ground ball collected by LeJohn Jones Jr. just when Rutgers looks like they have a sliver of hope, the Nittany Lions slam the door in their face. It's 12-5 with 6.5 to go.
As we look forward to the game after us, Joe, Ohio State, Michigan, Jack Myers, Ed Sheehan, Kyle Borda, the leaders of that Ohio State offense. Can they get off the ground? And what do they do with the face-off, Doc? They're facing Wheatfeld, who comes into that game 61%. And we saw the Buckeyes really struggle last weekend against Hopkins. How do they get the possessions needed to top a Michigan Wolverine team on the road and keep themselves not only with an opportunity to get the number 4 seed and play host at Ohio State Lacrosse Stadium, where they're really, really good, but they stay away, they get in a better position mathematically with their record.
Buckeyes defenders, very good. Here's an open cage, just sent wide. They'll be challenged by the likes of Boehm and Zawada and Cohen of the Wolverines.
And when you look at Michigan, that's a little bit of unbalanced scoring. The three you mentioned, Boehm, Zawada, Cohen, all with 40-plus points. The next highest scorer is with 16 points. So the big three for Michigan tonight really need to show up.
Expect Penn State to slow it down now?
Of course. Yeah, I mean, 7-goal lead, use the shot clock, be smart. Second midfield unit checking into the game now for the Nittany Lions.
It was a Penn State team that scored 5 times in the opening quarter. The most in a single frame this year was 7 that they bagged against Johns Hopkins. On the way to the goal there, Morin was denied. There's a flag down, and the whistle comes.
It's going to be a push call against Rutgers. Man-up opportunity for Penn State forthcoming to even further milk this clock down and celebrate Senior Day with a victory.
Michigan, the #1 shooting percentage team in the conference. Hopkins and Penn State were tied for second. Now the top-ranked Big Ten extra man unit goes back to work, hovering around 48% this season. And already 1 for 1 tonight. Getting slick on the outside. This one snapped wide of the net, now guarded by Anthony Palma. In cage for Rutgers.
And you mentioned Hopkins, Joe. We've got the 125th meeting tomorrow night between the Blue Jays and the Terps. What are you most looking forward to in that game?
Makar against whomever he covers.
That'll be
backdoor look here for Brentford. He cashes in. Icing on the cake for the Nittany Lions.
Rutgers, this team will not quit. They will give you 60 minutes of grit, hustle, and effort, but it just hasn't been their night. Brembleck with the finish. Good look to the backside. And that's a beautiful little shovel pass. And look at the unselfishness of Ethan Long to get it across to Brentfleck. Easy finish. Penn State right now really clicking on all cylinders.
But Mark, more to your point about what you're asking about the matchup, Makar, Zappatello, All-American long stick close defenders against all that Hopkins firepower at attack with Melendez and Degnan and the quarterback Angelis.
Yeah, so many subplots to that game. I love what you're talking about with those matchups. How about Weirman?
And Naruski, who's getting better and better.
Well, and if it's not Naruski, it could be Dunn, it could be Callahan. You've got 3 guys that can try to provide some kryptonite to Superman, Luke Weirman.
More on the board for Winkoff and the Nittany Lions as they are hitting the kick and racing away from Rutgers.
Really like the addition of Winkoff to this team. Coach Jeff Tambroni told us a couple weeks ago that it wasn't a super-duper smooth transition for either party, his coaching staff or Kevin Winkoff. But once they got on the same page, once they got comfortable with one another, the results speak for themselves.
Biggest lead on the night now for Penn State. A timeout taken with 4 minutes and 12 seconds to go from Panzer Stadium.
I think I saw Jeff Tambroni smiling. I thought I saw a smile in those sea of white Cascade helmets.
Mark, you know how early I get to the stadium, right? This was a 6 o'clock local time start. So I get here, I start putting things together in the booth, and I look in front of me, and who's here already, sitting in there basking in the glow of the sunshine? It's Coach Dan Brody. I said, geez, Jeff, I thought I was here early.
He is an intense coach. All-American at Hobart. Coach Cornell within a minute of a national championship, and then he's taken this Penn State program to new heights.
And he has a netminder who can lead the way in Jack Frassian.
We know that Frassian was going to be good tonight. He's been helped by pipes, but how about that first half when he had 11 saves? And he set the tone. He allowed his team to get out to that 5-0 lead. He kept a pretty good Rutgers offense at bay, and he's provided stability to a position that was good but inconsistent a year ago, and now it looks like he is going to give way to Al Fayak, the senior, which is great to see. But Frassian has had himself a terrific night here for the Penn State Nittany Lions.
Frassian had 17 stops last week against Michigan, 18 against Lafayette earlier in the year, and now Alaric Fayak off of the pine, played just under 9 minutes against Lafayette in the opener for Penn State. The Nittany Lions soon to improve to 9-3. Rutgers is about to fall to 8-5. These two teams battling for the Friendship Cup, which debuted in 1998. Penn State, with this win, will assure itself of at least a share of the Big Ten regular season title. Amon weaves his way in through traffic.
And I do hear that even clinching a share of the title, a little birdie has said they will get a trophy, which is exciting.
Knobloch maneuvers in against Hawes. Knobloch lets this one go, blocked down in front. As it's paddled to the sideline, the official's going to give the ball to Penn State.
Yeah, you know, and just thinking kind of broad now, since the formation of the Big Ten Lacrosse Conference, Friendship Cup under lock and key. I think Penn State's going to be walking off with that. But you look, you know, Hopkins and Maryland were your two blue bloods that were the bedrock of the conference. But we've seen Penn State go to a national semifinal. Rutgers has been to a national semifinal. Ohio State's been to the national championship game. And you've got a Michigan team knocking on the door. All of these programs that I just mentioned have made major commitments to the sport of lacrosse. A facility such as Panzer and the facilities that have popped up on Rutgers, Ohio State, and Michigan's campus for lacrosse. So
great to see the teams in the conference pushing each other, elevating each other. Luke Mercer has it with time ticking and down to 2:25 left in the fourth. Nice crowd on a Friday night at Panzer, enjoying senior night, and even more so now with a 14-5 lead in control down the stretch. Peden lost the handle. Takeaway, Ethan Rawl caused turnover. Rawl feed it inside, and it's Fayak who made a stop at the doorstep there.
Big
Alaric
cheer.
Fayak, who started a dozen games last year.
Yeah, big cheer for Alaric Fayak, a team favorite, a coaching favorite. Had an opportunity to meet him over the summer, coaching his brother with the 2023 Crabs, and that is a feel-good moment for his family and this Penn State lacrosse program.
Fans are whooping it up right now. 100 seconds left. Friendship Cup. Debuted in 98, a symbol of friendship. Group of 4 friends from Sewanaka High School on Long Island. Went off to college, splitting a couple of ways. A pair going to Penn State, the other heading off to Rutgers. That included Tom Hayes, Penn State alum, longtime head coach at Rutgers. The late Tom Hayes. Penn State about to lay claim to that trophy in 70 seconds time. Matt Costin on the move. Costin, one of the fire starters in this game tonight. Hobbs picked up his first goal as a collegiate player. It has been a feel-good Friday for Penn State.
No question. Give the fans what they came to see. And that is a complete effort against a really good Rutgers team, a share of the Big Ten championship, the Friendship Cup, and the possibility, Joe, of the #1 seed in the upcoming Big Ten tournament.
If Johns Hopkins beats Maryland tomorrow, Jeff Tambroni's team would have the top seed. 30 seconds left. Palma to clear. Rutgers will await its fate. They'll be playing on April 29th to start the Big Ten tournament. Ross Scott on the end line. Bring it back in against C.J. Battaglia now off of Jeff Tambroni's bench, 15 in the white. 10 seconds left. This one's wide of Fayok. There's a couple of flags settling down on the turf. Just a reminder, Michigan, Ohio State will follow. Buckeyes have won 4 of the last 5 in that rivalry series. 6 seconds away to hold them back on the sideline. Scott will bring it in. Rutgers overwhelmed at the start of the game for the second consecutive contest. They fell behind 5-0. Battle to the end, but they are not going to see this one go in the win column. The long ricochet to midfield. Penn State, a winner on senior night by the final count of 14-5.
There it is, the Friendship Cup. That should probably be making its way around Happy Valley in a couple of hours. But an impressive victory by the Penn State Nittany Lions. They knew what was in front of them, control what they can control, and that is a win over Rutgers, a share of the Big Ten regular season title, and again, the opportunity at that #1 seed should Johns Hopkins be able to upend the Maryland Terrapins tomorrow night. Good effort. Love the offense. Frassian was on point. Posey and Parnham, 2 terrific individual efforts defensively tonight against 2 really good players in Ross Scott and Shane Knobloch.
Rutgers licking its wounds, falling for the 5th time this season. A Rutgers squad that has dropped 4 of its last 5, dropped 4 of 5 on the road this season. Jeff Tambroni's group, very impressive cover to cover.
They are. And when you think about the turnaround of this team, Jack Traynor, TJ Malone back from injury, the emergence of Posey, the face-off. Chase Mullins has been pretty good this year, along with Hudson Bond. And then the transfers have had an impact. Guys like Kevin Winkoff producing at a high level. And the calming influence and the steady play of Jack Frassian between the pipes. This is a team that, in my estimation, Joe, they will get a first-round playoff game. In the NCAA tournament, this resume, another top 15 RPI win, at least as it stands tonight, against the Rutgers Scarlet Knights.
Best defensive effort of the season for Penn State, limiting Rutgers to just 5. They had held former number 3 overall Cornell to a 10-6 decision earlier in the season. One of the 9 victories now for the Nittany Lions. 4-1 through their Big Ten conference schedule, earning themselves at least a share of the regular season title.
Yeah, and then you look at the flip side of the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. This is a team that went to the Final Four last year, loses some pieces off of that bunch. They've had some injuries this year, and Big Ten play has just been very treacherous for Rutgers. But they're still alive, and that life comes in the form of the Big Ten tournament next week. They will be the number 4 seed if Michigan can knock off Ohio State. But if the Buckeyes beat Michigan, they will be traveling to Columbus, a place where they only scored 7 goals a few weeks ago, and a place where Ohio State is an incredibly tough out.
Show of sportsmanship, the post-game handshake line. Well wishes for the upcoming Big Ten tourney, which begins on the 29th. The Big Ten Tournament semifinals and championship game hosted by Johns Hopkins May 4th and 6th. Folks, coming up, more men's lacrosse action. Ohio State and Michigan set to go from the Michigan Lacrosse Stadium. For Mark Dixon, for all the men and women in our crew here at Panzer Stadium, we are about to send you to Jason Ross Jr. and Greg Bice. It's the Buckeyes and the Wolverines coming up. More lacrosse on Big Ten Network as we send you to Ann Arbor. Penn State's a winner in the opener this Friday night.